I don't remember locking the front door that night, but I remember the sound it made when it opened. Not a creak, not a click. It was a slow, wet push like something too heavy, too wide, was forcing its way into a frame made for men. My house was quiet, dead quiet, no TV hum, no buzzing phone. Just the low groan of settling walls and the occasional pop of aging pipes. I liked the silence until I realized it was listening to me too. I'd moved in 3 weeks earlier, small rental, edge of town. One of those places that feels temporary the second you step inside. The living room smelled faintly of wood rot and old carpet cleaner, but it was mine, my space, my reset after everything. No one tells you how loud a house can be when you're alone. Every tick of the baseboard, every moan of the wind through loose siding starts to sound deliberate, like the house is breathing, like someone else is syncing their steps with. Years on the hardwood, the first week I blamed stress, the second, maybe rats, but the third? The third week is when I started hearing it breathe back. It began with scratching, light, rhythmic, as if someone were dragging a stick along the vinyl siding. Then came the knocks, always three. Never at the front, always at the back, sliding glass. Door, one night, I finally opened it, and there was nothing. No footsteps in the grass, no broken branches, but the trees were still swaying. In a wind I couldn't feel. I stopped checking after that. Then last night, it changed around 2 o'clock a.m. I heard the dragging again, only this time. It wasn't at the back door, it was inside the house. Floorboards flexed under weight, too dense to be human. I lay frozen in bed, every muscle screaming while my brain whispered, "Don't breathe, don't move, don't scream." That's when I saw it just outside my bedroom door, a shadow long, hunched, too broad for any man, and the glint of something reflecting the streetlight from the window. Eyes, yellow, wet, fixed on mine like they'd been waiting weeks for permission. It didn't growl, it smiled. A mouth full of teeth, too big to belong in this world, curled open. And I swear to God, it whispered something. Not in English, not in any language I know, but I felt the meaning in my bones. You're inside now. That means you're mine. And then the scratching began again. From behind my closet door, there was more than one. If it crosses the threshold, it doesn't leave. They say when your life falls apart, you either rebuild or hide in someone else's wreckage and pretend it's yours. That's what this house was supposed to be, a quiet corner on the edge of nowhere. Cheap, slightly crooked, but livable. No kids next door. No neighbors peering over fences. Just me, my name on a lease. And enough isolation to drown the past in silence. The landlord didn't say much, just handed me the keys and mumbled something about a break-in last year. Said the last tenant left. In a rush, left the back patio half-finished. Left her dog behind too, never came back for it. When I asked what happened, he shrugged and said, "Some people just move on. Others get stuck inside the walls." He laughed. I didn't. I should have taken that more literally. The first few days, I tried to normalize everything. Set up the Wi-Fi, assembled some IKEA furniture, ordered Chinese I couldn't pronounce. It felt fine, mostly, but every night, the air got heavier, like the house didn't want me here, like something under the floorboards was holding its breath, waiting for me to notice it. Then came the smell, rot, but not like garbage. This was wet dog fur, coppery, like something had bled and never dried. It was strongest in the hallway, right outside the linen closet, and that's where I found the first one. A scratch mark, not from a nail, from something thicker, 3 jagged lines carved through the drywall. Deep, precise, like claws. Like someone or something was trying to get out. I ran my hand over the grooves. They weren't old. The dust was still flaking off the edge, fresh, maybe a day or two. I tried to rationalize. Maybe some animal got inside. Maybe the last tenant. Had a big dog. Maybe I was tired. Too many memories bleeding into my present. I didn't sleep much after that. The next day I called the landlord again. asked if the house had any pest problems. He paused, then said, "Not anymore," and hung up. I started. Keeping the lights on at night, just in the hallway, just enough to see the outline of my bedroom door. I told myself I'd leave, tomorrow, next week, maybe once the deposit cleared. But part of me stayed. I think I was waiting, not for proof, not for a reason, but for something to finally come through that damn door and make all the dread feel earned. That's the worst part, not the monster. It's how long you wait for one to show up, just so you're not crazy, and then you learn you should have prayed to stay insane. The house remembers everyone it walks in. It started with the humming low, constant, not from any machine, too organic, like something vibrating just beneath the drywall, like teeth chattering against pipes, like a growl with no mouth to hold it. At first I thought it was in my head, then it moved with me, from room to room, like it was following the shape of my breath. I tried sleeping with earplugs, didn't matter. The sound found its way in any way, through bone, through skin, like it was inside me, shaking something loose I'd buried years ago, and then the blackout, not electricity, not lights, memory. I woke up on the floor of the living room, blanket gone, bedroom door wide open. My phone said 3:11 a.m. I had no recollection of how I got there, no dreams, just static where the night should have been. There were scratches on the hardwood beneath me, 3 again, arcing away from my body, and blood, not a lot, just enough to smudge the edge of my heel, not deep, but fresh, as if something had pulled me there. Or worse, if I had crawled myself. That was when I stopped pretending I was safe. Started locking the interior doors, started piling furniture in front of the bedroom entrance, started sleeping with a kitchen knife under my pillow. Not that it would help, because the next time I blacked out, I wasn't inside the house. I was outside in the woods behind the back fence, barefoot, shirtless, mud up to my knees, shaking like I'd just woken up from a coma. The worst part wasn't being lost. It was the trail of paw prints beside mine, massive, inhuman, parallel. Something had walked me out here, walked beside me, or led me, and left me behind. I stopped answering texts, stopped going to work. I told people I had the flu. I had something, just not the kind medicine fixes. Because every day it got closer, not the sound, not the smell, the instinct. I stopped locking the door, not out of forgetfulness, but because some part of me wanted it to return. The claw marks on the closet multiplied, now in the kitchen, now in the walls, and on the mirror in the hallway, scratched into the fog one morning after a cold shower. Let it in. That night, the scratching stopped. That something else began. My gums itched. My spine ached like it wanted to twist sideways. My nails cracked. I found hair on my pillow, long, black, not mine. I stood in the mirror and didn't recognize the stare. Eyes too wide, too bright, something primal blinked. Behind them, something hungry. It doesn't bite you, it remembers you. The scratching came back, but it wasn't on the walls this time. It was inside my head, every thought torn, every hurt beat wrong, like my own body was trying to reject me, like my bones were being rented by something else. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't stop staring at the back door like it owed me answers. That's when the dreams started, if you can even call them that. I was standing in the hallway, naked, cold, looking at myself, only it wasn't me. Same eyes, but stretched over a new shape. Longer limbs, teeth too wide for the jaw. Shoulders pulled forward like an animal ready to pounce, and I was smiling. Every dream ended with the same moment. I'd walk up to the door, press my palm against the wood, and whisper, "You're already inside." The next night, it wasn't a dream. I woke up in bed with blood under my fingernails. There were claw marks on the inside of my closet. The scratching was now on the ceiling. I set up a camera, one of those cheap indoor security cams with night vision, pointed it at the hallway. just outside my bedroom, let it run, and that night I didn't sleep. I just waited 3:03. The screen went black, not static, not disconnected, just black. But the audio kept going. I heard it, something breathing, then padding footsteps, heavy, slow, deliberate, then a knock 3 times, then the sound of something whispering, not in English, but the words shaped themselves anyway. You're the door now. I checked the hallway. Nothing. But the smell was back, stronger. Rancid, hot, like wet fur rolled in copper and rot. I checked the camera file, downloaded the footage, and frame by frame at the edge of the screen, just for a moment, eyes reflective, canine, inside the hallway, but the worst part? They didn't blink. They widened like they recognized me. That night, I heard the front door unlock, not open, just click as if something wanted me to know it could. I ran to the kitchen, knife in hand, but my reflection in the microwave caught my attention. My pupils blown wide, my teeth longer, my arms hairier than they'd been the day before. And on my forearm, 3 puncture marks, not a bite, a symbol, claw-shaped, intentional, branded. I tried to leave, made it halfway down the driveway before my legs buckled. I threw up bile, my vision spun. The houses on either side of me warped windows. Twitching like eyes, the world didn't want me anymore. And when I looked back at my house, the porch light was on and someone was standing in the doorway, not moving, not waving, just watching and smiling. The bite marks are inside your bloodline. It began with the moon, not full, not quite, but wrong. Too large, too red, hung too low in the sky like it was watching my house specifically. I didn't go to sleep that night. I couldn't. The air was thick, clinging to the walls like smoke from a fire no one could see, and the house was humming, not just sound, energy, like it was alive. Like the foundation itself was pulsing. I sat in the living room with every light on, knife in my lap, phone in my hand. No signal. I called 911 anyway, no. Tone, just breathing on the other end, human. No, hungry. Then came the knock. Not the back door this time, the hallway closet. 3 knocks, slow, measured, like it was giving me one last chance to surrender willingly. I stood. The walls felt like they were breathing with me. The floorboards shifted. Under every step, the closer I got to the closet, the more my body rebelled. My legs stiffened. My fingers twitched. My jaw felt too tight. And my eyes reflected yellow in the hallway mirror. Not from fear, from something else entirely. I opened the closet door, and there it was. Not a creature, not a man, me or some twisted, snarling second skin of me, a version that had shed its humanity like old clothes. Matted fur, clawed hands, teeth like rusted knives, and those same eyes, mine but ancient. It lunged, and so did I. The fight was silent, no screaming, no dialogue, just teeth, breath, blood, claws. And the ceiling gave first. We crashed through it like paper. Landing in the attic I'd never dared enter, it reeked of mold and sulfur and fur. There were bones up here, animal, human, some fresh, some mine. It pinned me, hot breath in my face. Drool dripping from fangs that shimmered under the blood moon, bleeding through the cracked roof. And then it didn't bite, it leaned in and whispered, "You were always the one." And it let go because I was already changing. Fingernails cracking open, teeth grinding against new jaw shapes, spine bending backward until something popped. I didn't scream, I howled, not in pain, in recognition. The attic disappeared in a blur of motion. I don't remember falling through the rafters, but I remember landing on all fours, the floor beneath me soaked red. Something moved beneath it, something alive and churning. And I saw the mirror again, cracked from corner to corner. It showed me not just the beast, the truth. I'd never been attacked. I'd been reclaimed. The full moon doesn't change you. It reminds you. The morning came like a lie, too bright, too normal. Birdsong in the distance. A trash truck rumbling 2 streets over. Sunlight bleeding into the house like nothing had happened, but everything had. I was lying in the hallway naked, shaking, my arms caked in dirt and blood. Some of it was mine, some of it wasn't. The ceiling above was fractured. Rafters splintered where I'd crashed through. The floor beneath me was gouged with claw marks and patterns I couldn't explain. Symbols, runes, some old, some fresh, all familiar. I crawled to the mirror, my reflection stared back, human almost, but the eyes gave it away. Still gold, still burning, still his. I waited for someone to knock. Police, neighbors, anyone. No one came. Because nothing had happened, at least not by their rules. The house was clean. No. Corpses, no fur, no evidence, just scars in the drywall and blood in the floorboards. And the marks on my body, not wounds, changes. My canines were longer. My fingers bent easier. My skin ran hotter than it should. And the hunger didn't leave. I left the house that night, not for good, just for a walk through the woods. Behind the fence, same ones I'd woken in weeks before. This time I didn't wake up out there. I didn't lose time. I made it deliberately, calmly. Every step felt like I'd taken it before. The wind was still, the animals silent, except one, a low growl, not hostile, not distant, calling. I followed, and in a clearing I didn't know existed. I found them 6 shadows, kneeling, wolves that weren't wolves, men that weren't men, and one empty space right in the middle. They didn't speak, but they didn't have to, because the moment I stepped into the circle, they bowed their heads like they were welcoming someone back, someone they'd lost. I left the house for good a few days later, let the landlord keep the deposit, let the furniture rot. It wasn't mine anymore. I'd outgrown it, literally now. I live by the calendar, moon phases, hunger windows, night walks, utterly reminders. My bones ache the day before it comes. My skin itches hours before the change, and every month I leave town, somewhere quiet, somewhere remote, somewhere no. One knocks on the door because I know what I become now. I know what I always was, and I know this curse isn't something you catch. It's something you return to. It's not the bite that marks you. It's the blood remembering. If you're hearing this, and you've ever woken up somewhere you don't remember falling asleep, if you've ever tasted blood on your teeth without knowing how it got there, if your dreams walk upright and your shadows growl, you already know it's not a nightmare, it's a map. And every mark, every howl, every sleepless night is a road back to what used to be. I didn't survive a werewolf attack. I survived remembering what I am. And if you think this won't happen to you, check your nails, check your teeth, check the places your dog refuses to sleep, and when the scratching starts, don't ask who's outside. Ask who's already inside if your house went quiet before the knock. Send us your story before the next moonrise. And for those who hunger for more, step deeper into the shadows with our ultimate werewolf horror playlist linked in the description below. In the world of horror, the scariest things happen when you least expect them, and trust me, you don't want to be left in the dark. Welcome to the darkness.